Hello there, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to talk about Tulsi Gabbard, our director of intelligence, and how she has dropped a bombshell over the weekend.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah, some good stuff here.
yeah, getting
Yep,
behind, getting some stuff done. So
yep,
that's good. So we just have a video here with Maria from Fox News. So,
yep. All right, let's
all right,
get into
Kyle.
this and
Joining me now is the woman herself, the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. Director, thanks very much for being here this morning.
Good morning, Maria. Thank you.
What was the most damning thing that you learned after looking through all of these declassified documents?
Maria, the implications of this are frankly nothing short of historic. Over 100 documents that we released on Friday really detail and provide evidence of how this treasonous conspiracy was directed by President Obama just weeks before he was due to leave office, after President Trump had already gotten elected. This is not a Democrat or Republican issue. This is an issue that is so serious it should concern every single American because it has to do with the integrity of our democratic republic. What we saw occur here, as the documents we released detailed, was that we had a sitting president of the United States and his cabinet and leadership team, quite frankly, who were not happy with the fact that President Trump had won the election, that the American people had chosen Donald J. Trump to be the next president commander-in-chief of the United States. And so they decided that they would do everything possible to try to undermine his ability to do what voters tasked President Trump to do. So creating this piece of manufactured intelligence that claims that Russia had helped Donald Trump get elected contradicted every other assessment that had been made previously in the months leading up to the election that said exactly the opposite, that Russia had neither the intent nor the capability to try to, quote unquote, hack the United States election for the presidency of the United States. So the effect of what President Obama and his senior national security team did was subvert the will of the American people, undermining our democratic republic, and enacting what would be essentially a years-long coup against President Trump, who was duly elected by the American people.
Yeah. Now, I want to go back to something Devin Nunes said, which is exactly what you're saying right now. And he said, after all of our investigation, we found that there was no intelligence. There was no intelligence actually indicating that Trump colluded with Russia. And what happened? Because there was a presidential daily briefing that was presented to President Obama every day, and every day it said the same thing. We have no evidence of collusion. We have no evidence that Russia did this with Donald Trump. So what happened? How did they actually get the public to believe, and half the public believed, that actually Trump did collude?
media.
Well, this is the thing, Maria, when you look at the assessments that were made, not just by one element of the intelligence community, but in my role as the Director of National Intelligence, I oversee 18 different intelligence community elements. And in the months leading up to the November 2016 election, the intelligence community agreed that there was no intelligence that reflected that Russia was trying to hack the election in favor of either candidate. The evidence showed, the intelligence showed that, again, Russia did not have either the intent nor the capability to be able to impact the outcome of the United States election. So it was very striking when we look back again at the documents that I declassified and released that shows there was a shift. In early December, the first week of December, again, another document was produced by the intelligence community, a president's daily brief that was consistent with every other assessment that was done previously leading up to the election. Russia did not, this is after the election now, did not attempt to affect the outcome of the American election. That was never published. Hours before it would have gone into President Obama's President's Daily Brief, it was pulled by a senior level intelligence official saying that they had to pull it because they had received new guidance. The very next day, this meeting was called, a National Security Council meeting, bring together all of the senior leaders of President Obama's cabinet, and the topic that was put forward was a sensitive matter. The tasks that came out of that meeting was coming from President Obama directing the intelligence community, then Obama's ODNI director Clapper, to produce a document, to produce an intelligence assessment that detailed not if, but how Moscow affected the outcome of the election that had already occurred, electing Donald Trump to the presidency. This document that they published in January of 2017 was the foundational groundwork that they continued to reference over and over and over again to enact this years-long coup against President Trump.
Now, I know that Devin Nunes came out with the Nunes report and a lot of other reports after that to indicate everything that you're saying. And I guess the worst of the reports, the real evidence, is the reports of most recent, right? The last reports are the worst reports that we're going to see. And I understand that there is more, perhaps, that you are going to come out with next week. And I was told that that's why they raided Mar-a-Lago, that they wanted to find the Trump-Russia documents that indicated there was absolutely no collusion and that there was no evidence to even start such an investigation. But Trump didn't have it there in Mar-a-Lago, but that's why they raided his house in 2022. Is that correct?
I don't have the details.
Okay. That's wild.
That's wild. Wow.
If that's true.
Yeah.
So Trump had, so that's saying that he had the document that stated that there was no intelligence.
Right.
That there was no intelligence saying that Russia was involved with with trying to, affect our elections, and they weren't involved. What's really crazy about this too is that not only did the Obama administration, Obama, Comey, Clapper, Brennan, not only were they involved in covering up the truth, but then they also were saying the opposite. They were lying.
They were fabricating false
this
reports.
Yes, and then they were trying to overthrow or delegitimize, I guess, Trump being elected as president with that.
Because then they could have pushed to have him impeached. And if they would have had
what did the Democratic Party do the entire time Trump was in office the first time? Yeah. The entire time he was
they were
through his entire presidency, they were trying to impeach him the entire time. Based on this.
Yep.
This is huge.
Yeah. This is huge. If someone doesn't get prosecuted.
If they can also link this to the lawfare against him over the last 4 years too.
Yeah, if someone doesn't get prosecuted over this,
if someone doesn't get arrested,
Obama will never get arrested.
Don't say that.
I don't see it happening.
I don't know.
I don't think Trump would do that. I mean, they would do that to Trump, but they're just that kind of people. The Democrats are that kind of people. I don't think Trump would do that to soil the office of the president. I don't think he would do that. I think he's too patriotic to go after a sitting president. Would they bring up information?
So you think it's more about what that represents? It's more about, it's not necessarily about Obama himself. It's more about the legitimacy. Legitimacy. I can't talk today, guys. I'm sorry.
Comey and Clapper and all them.
Brennan,
whatever. I think he would definitely go after them because they weren't the president. I think he would.
What if they can prove that the birth certificate was fake? Because that's been going around too. I don't know. It's so hard because I remember when all of that first started, and I was like, "Is it though?" I mean, I don't know.
I don't care now because it's too late now. But it would be nice to know. It would be nice to know. Then you would absolutely know that there is a deep state. And they have the power.
You don't think there's a deep state?
Well, I know there's a deep state.
Okay.
But that would probably open up other people's eyes. I know there's a deep state. I believe it.
Right.
But there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of Democrats that believe everything they hear.
I do like how she said this this isn't a Democrat Republican issue.
Yeah, it should bother everyone.
It should.
It should. There was all this. This is kind of the start of all the bad mouthing. Maybe it wasn't the start, but this was part of the beginning of the bad mouthing of Trump that there's so many Democrats because they believe the media.
Yep.
The media pushed this narrative over and
they're
over
a part
and
of this.
over and over and over again.
And this was before. I mean, and I'm sure there are people that still watch Legacy News and believe in all of that and have faith in all of that and Legacy News. But you have to kind of have to stop and think, okay, what was the world like in 2015 to 2017 and how it changed so much and then how it's changed so much since then.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to go back and remember because it's so different now, but you're exactly right. I mean, the news pushed this and it caused mistrust. Of course, Donald Trump had his supporters, but there's always going to be, there's going to be, of course, people that oppose a candidate, of course, like strongly convictions, like strongly oppose. And then there's those that same, but they are, they support that candidate. And then there's those people that are kind of in the middle. There's those people that are like the independent voters and even people that are among the right and the left, more moderate type that aren't so, maybe they're not super political, but I could see how this, if they're thinking, wow, he's involved. There. I mean, you have these people that are saying this and why would you mistrust them? And then Legacy News is saying it. I mean, and this was back then. So I definitely think you're right. I think that it was kind of a bad first impression for people who maybe weren't strongly opposed. Maybe they didn't know much about him other than The Apprentice or other than, just who he was, Trump Towers and like how he was just this real estate tycoon in New York. But then they heard these things and they thought, oh, well, he's not a good guy, Yeah. I don't know. I just think that there's going to be a lot.
Yeah. I hope she lets it all out.
I really like Tulsi too. I think she's the real deal. Yeah. And I was very excited about her being I can't think of the word.
Nominated?
I guess.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
To the DNI.
Selected
for the DNI.
Yeah. Well, just within the cabinet, but I definitely think that this was a really good position for her, and she's doing really well. So we got a few more minutes of this. Yeah. Let's wrap this up.
Okay. Classified documents released Friday.
Details on the specifics of the Mar-a-Lago raid itself. Those are within the possession of the FBI. But there's no question in my mind that this intelligence community assessment that President Obama ordered be published, which contained a manufactured intelligence document. It's worse than even politicization of intelligence. It was manufactured intelligence that sought to achieve President Obama and his team's objective, which was undermining President Trump's presidency and subverting the will of the American people. So yes, next week we will be releasing more detailed information about how exactly this took place and the extent to which this information was sought to be hidden from the American people, hidden from officials who would be in a position to do something about it. And that's really the point here that I think is most important, Maria, and you said it in your opening. Accountability is essential for the future of our country, for the American people to have any sense of trust in the integrity of our democratic republic. Accountability, action, prosecution, indictments for those who are responsible for trying to steal our democracy is essential for us to make sure that this never happens to our country again.
Yeah, and I want to get to that right now because I've heard talk of a criminal referral. Are you referring this in a criminal matter?
We are referring all of the documents that we have uncovered to the Department of Justice and the FBI for a criminal referral.
Yeah. And do you believe that we will see prosecutions? I mean, our audience wants to know where this story goes from here. Will we ever see anyone held accountable for this incredible lie on the American people?
I will do all that I can, and we have whistleblowers, actually, Maria, coming forward now after we release these documents, because there are people who were around, who were working within the intelligence community at this time, who were so disgusted by what happened. We're starting to see some of them come out of the woodwork here, because they too, like you and I and the American people, want to see justice delivered. So we're going to provide everything that we have, everything that we will continue to gather to the Department of Justice for that direct intent and that direct purpose. There must be indictments, those responsible, no matter how powerful they are and were at that time, no matter who was involved in creating this treasonous conspiracy against the American people, they all must be held accountable.
Yes.
So do you expect, just to be clear, do you expect indictments and prosecutions?
I'm not a lawyer. In my view, we have the evidence to be able to move forward and bring about justice, yes, to prosecute and indict those responsible.
And I want to really put a spotlight on who's responsible, because we've talked about the highest levels, Barack Obama, John Brennan, James Clapper, but we also have to look at things like, you just found all of this. Why didn't Durham find it? Why didn't Mueller find it? Okay, what about the FISA judges? Because when you look at this seditious conspiracy aimed at overthrowing the U.S. government,
everyone
and
involved,
an elected president,
everyone.
you have to consider also the black robes. You've got to look at the FISA judges. And how about the fact that the judge who gave a slap on the wrist to Kevin Kleinsmith, who was the FBI agent who lied on an official document about Carter Page, who was spied on for a year, that judge is Judge James Boasberg. He's still at his desk, and he's still trying to stop Donald Trump's agenda.
Wow.
So what about the broader group of people that are also involved?
Maria, this is of such historic consequence that it cannot be limited to one or two or three different people. You just outlined the implications and the effects of what actually occurred, and I think you're really putting into a clear picture what we are referring to when we refer to the deep state. It is very far-reaching. These are people who are intent on undermining the will of the American people and trying to ultimately put themselves above our democracy. And this is why it's so important that we continue down this path. We continue to stay very focused. I question the same things that you're asking here. I don't know how it is. Yes, I put my team on this. We've been working on this over the last few months. I've been in this role as Director of National Intelligence for just about 6 months. I don't know what excuse there is for those who supposedly investigated this previously, whether it was Durham or others, that they were not able to put together the dots and ultimately show the truth to the American people. President Trump has delivered a maximum transparency mandate, and this is exactly what we're doing. The American people need to see the truth, and we're going to continue to do that every single day that I'm here.
Equally outrageous was the fact that we had the handwritten notes of John Brennan. I reported on it at the time. The CIA reported to President Obama that the Russians were aware that Hillary Clinton had come up with this idea to blame the Russians and working with Trump to win the election. And we actually saw his handwritten notes. So there's that evidence that, again, all of those people who were supposedly special counsels, independent counsels, blew off, right? Robert Mueller, John Durham.
Yep.
That's right. I really cannot fathom.
Right?
There is no rational or logical explanation.
You can't argue that.
For why they failed. The only logical conclusion that I can draw in this, Maria, is what you're implying here directly, is that there was direct intent to cover up the truth about what occurred and who was responsible, and the broad network of how this seditious conspiracy was concocted and who exactly was responsible for carrying it out.
So at the end of the day, we need to look at Pam Bondi. Is that the person who, at the end of the day, is going to bring us accountability? Pam Bondi?
Attorney General Pam Bondi, FBI Director Kash Patel, it is their responsibility to gather all of the evidence, both that we have released, the facts that have already been known previously, the information that will continue to come out, and move forward with this prosecution and these indictments.
All right. We are on it, and we'll be watching that. Director, thank you very much for bringing us this. We so appreciate your time.
That was so good.
Tulsi Gabbard joining us. Stay with us.
Yeah. I worry about Pam. Is she the right person? I don't know. But you know something I've been thinking about this whole deal.
Okay. Because I know
with Pam.
Yeah, it's been really disappointing with all of this Epstein stuff for sure.
Trump possibly knowing this was coming down the line. If Pam left right now, how long would it take to get someone else?
I don't think she should. Okay, at first, yes, I was mad. I was mad. I was like, she needs to go. And I think it wasn't even really about the fact that they hadn't released everything and all of that, because I know that this is a huge deal, and I know that it's probably hasn't been handled like it should, and there's probably a lot that isn't in there that we think is because it should be. And there's just a lot of moving parts and a lot of pieces to this very complicated puzzle. But the way she's handled it with the binders, with the it's on my desk, with the and then going on Fox News and doing these, which I'm like, if she needs to watch Tulsi and be like, look, this is how you is how you anyway.
Yeah.
She just doesn't impress me at all. And maybe that's really rude of me to say. I don't know. I'm just hoping that she just hasn't had her moment, maybe. But I do see where you're coming from.
Well,
you know, and I'm not saying that she should go, but I'm not impressed with her. Some people are not good at public speaking. No. You know, some people just don't do well. Doesn't mean they're not good at what they do. Doesn't mean that they're not good at their job. It just means that they're not good speaking, because she's really not good at it at all.
Yeah, but she's supposedly been in the court system, trials and stuff. You're always speaking in front of a bunch of people.
Well, I feel like, I don't know. I guess because she is a prosecutor, and she just comes, I think maybe because she's a woman and she's in that field and in that world, that she feels like she has to kind of come across, I hate to say bitchy, but, or come up and pardon me, pardon my language there, but like coming across like just with like with this like chip on your shoulder, or like this attitude. I don't know what it is, but it's like, it seems like anytime she's ever talking on camera, she just has like a bad attitude for me. And so it's like, you're speaking to the American people, and I'm not saying that you can't be firm, and I'm not saying that you can't be, you know, professional, and you want to come across as strong, and that you have the facts, and you're delivering this message or whatever it is. But I still think you could be like, I don't know, just not. I don't know. Maybe that's just my own personal take.
Well, the point that I'm getting at, is we have less than 3.5 years with Trump in to get anything done. Something like this is going to take a lot of hours in court, a lot of hearings. It's going to take a lot of time. It could potentially take more time than what Trump's going to be in there. And if he had to go through, select another person, then them have to go through the whole process, it could take another 6 months before another person was actually put in position.
I get what you're saying. But he could have a temporary interim immediately. Yeah. And they wouldn't have to be, have to go through Congress.
I wish Matt Gaetz would have stayed and been.
A lot of people are saying that. I don't know. I believe everything happens for a reason. I don't really know what's going on there. And I don't really know. I don't know much about him. I don't know. Did he really practice law? I don't know. But anyway, I do see what you're saying. And part of me, I guess what I was kind of getting at was, she may be better in the courtroom. She may be better, as a prosecutor than she is at handling public relation type stuff, and handling, dealing with the public, and handling, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I think, I don't think she I don't know. That whole thing was just
she's
weird.
She's not going to be the one in the courtroom. She'll just be putting it all together.
No.
Yeah.
I know that, but I'm saying that she might be better just working.
Maybe.
And two, I think another thing too, it's like with all that's going on, all the pushback with Trump, with the immigration, with all this other stuff, with these judges, like I think that she has done very well for Trump. I don't know.
Yeah.
But based upon how terrific he says she is and how she's doing this fantastic job, I haven't really looked into those things too closely. Yeah. So I'm just guessing that those are the things that he's talking about, that she has been there for him in that way, that she has maybe been getting things done as far as, you know, that kind of thing. And then working with Cash and Dan as far as the immigration stuff and prosecuting these, you know.
She's been more willing and more aligned with.
Well, and pushing back against these judges who are, you know, acting out of turn. And even some of these other state level legislators that are causing problems for Donald Trump as far as the immigration initiative. So that I don't know. I guess I was just like, well, maybe that's got to be what he's talking about.
Maybe.
You know, and then stuff that's internal, you know, that's going on behind the scenes that we don't know about, because there's a lot of stuff that's, you know, we kind of see the outer layers, I guess. And of course, the stuff that's loud and exciting, you know, that's what you're going to hear about. But there's a lot of stuff that's not that exciting, that's kind of boring, but it has to happen. You have to go through all this red tape and you have to do it this way and to get these things done. And I think that that's something that, like you were saying, with this coming down the track, this is something that could take a while. But also, you're going to need people that you trust to handle it. And you're going to need it to go through a court system that's fair. And if there's, you know, certain judges, like Maria was saying, if there's these certain judges that are compromised, what's the point of going? I mean, it's kind of like you want to go through all of this hard work and deliver all this evidence for it to just go through a court that's compromised and nothing's going to happen. So I just kind of feel like that there's, you know, you don't want to put the cart before the horse, and you want to make sure that, you know, you don't go through and do all this work and have all this evidence and then they just throw it out because they're corrupt. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but it's kind of like a head of the snake kind of thing.
You've got to be able to select or somewhat control the court.
Not control the court.
Not really control it, but you
just need to know that they're not corrupted and that they are honest and that they are going to follow the law. I mean, you want to make sure that they're going to follow the law no matter what, and that if there is a case brought before them and there's clearly evidence of, you know, criminality, then there should be prosecutions. It shouldn't just be a slap on the wrist kind of thing. Right. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see though.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
And then so she did say that there is going to be more that's going to be released, more in depth. I'm really anxious to hear about the Mar-a-Lago thing. Yeah. And what that was really about.
Yeah, that's going to be good to.
So
that's going to be
definitely
interesting.
going to follow up on that.
Yep.
And we'll see. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to us and all of our banter.
Let us know what you think about all this. Do you think someone's going to get prosecuted? Yeah. Do you think it's just it's all this is just for show? You know, don't know.
Or do you think there's going to actually be prosecutions?
You think Obama will ever get indicted? Don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see. But anyway, thank you. And until next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.